الحمد لله نحمده سبحانه ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفوته من خلقه وحبيبه قد بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل دينه حتى أتاه اليقين فاللهم اجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جازيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته اللهم أحينا على سنته وأمتنا على ملته واحشرنا تحت لوائه وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا اللهم آمين. We are continuing to address the issue of the logical treatment of the Quran to turmoil and tribulations, and we are still using Prophet Musa's example with Pharaoh and partly with his community. And today, inshallah, hopefully we can finish that part of this presentation, inshallah. So last time we finished with the magicians accepting Islam and being threatened with crucifixion, after torture, after cutting the limbs. All of this was not enough. But their faith is what helped them accept the challenge, which means to accept that fate, the fate of the believer. The importance of this issue is in the fact that all what the tyrants have to do is to create fear in the community so that they control how the community thinks, what the community does, or what the community doesn't do. So the example of the magicians who accepted the threat for their life is very outstanding in the sense that you can't have fear and freedom in the same heart. You can't have faith and fear from people in the same heart. If you want freedom, you have to have faith. If you have faith, you have to divorce fear, an irrevocable divorce. You don't reclaim it, it is not yours. You are not created to fear anyone but Allah. So this is a very important point. If our ummah likes freedom, we have to be willing to pay the price for freedom. Freedom is never free, and freedom and faith do abide in the heart of the believer. But freedom and fear do not coexist. Freedom and faith live together, but fear and faith do not coexist in the same heart, except our fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our fear of displeasing Allah, our fear of disobeying Allah. And this is a huge lesson for our ummah as a whole and for us as individuals and single communities. So what does Allah say as a commentary on the tongues of the magicians? Mind you, the Quran does not highlight a leading magician to speak for the magicians. The Quran cites the statements as if it is a statement of all of them together. But it doesn't highlight a single person, which is contrary to the popular belief that for any community to be free, we have to have leadership. No, leadership is something that you create. If the leaders you have do not do what you want, you create the leaders that I meant to choose and elect and develop. The leaders you need to do your bid, not anybody else's. So the magicians do not appear to have a single person talking on their behalf, and when the harm comes, his neck will be chopped. No. They are all talking in one tongue, one language, the language of faith. So here's what they say. Verily, he who comes to his Lord as a criminal, surely for him is hell, wherein he will abide forever, neither live nor die. So this is their answer to Pharaoh's threat. They are saying, you commit the crimes you want to commit, that is your fate. What a courageous group of people. How brave these people were. If bravery is to speak truth to power, they have it. If bravery is to take risk on behalf of your own faith and your own community, they did it. If bravery is to stand alone without the backing of any other human being but your own self and your own community, they have it. And what is the prize for bravery? It is freedom. It is dignity. It is honor. It is that you own your own destiny. You own and control your own fate. So there is no dignity for free. There is no freedom for free. You can't own your fate for free. You have to struggle and pay whatever it takes of price to re-own and regain control over your own fate. You don't deliver your fate into anybody else's hand. And in return, they are expressing the power of their faith. So the strength of their faith to accept a negative fate is one thing. But the power of their faith to threaten the most powerful man in their land as a return to his own threat is a different level of power. The power of faith will help you overcome all difficulties, not the weakness of fear, the power of your faith. And then they continue, وَمَنْ يَأْتِهِ مُؤْمِنًا قَدْ عَمِلَ الصَّالِحَاتِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الدَّرَجَاتُ الْعُلَى. He who comes to Allah with faith and righteous deeds, those will have the higher grades. So Pharaoh claimed that he is رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. I am your Lord the highest. They say the higher ranks in paradise are going to be for those who do righteous deeds while they are believers. Again, a very powerful but clear message. In this, they are trying to put Pharaoh in his very small size in the eyes of everybody. Mind you, that they are saying this in front of everybody in the annual day of festivities in Egypt, which means everybody is looking, everybody is hearing, everybody is in attendance. So they are not only messaging Pharaoh, they are messaging all the audience, those of them who believe and those who do not believe, after they had seen the signs and the power of the miracle that Allah did on the hands of Musa alayhi salam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, and we have inspired Moses to travel at night with his community, the children of Israel. To travel where? They are not going to take the Greyhound, they are not going to take a flight. They are going to go through the desert and the heat and the insulation of the desert. And they are not going to be 5 or 10 people. Most probably they were in the thousands. So this is a huge community to pull forward through the desert, especially that they were all afraid, including Musa himself. Of course, they are afraid because Pharaoh is very powerful and he pulled his chariots and gangs and soldiers and army and what you call intelligence. He pulled all of his power forward with all the horses and the carts and the chariots, and they were running after them. Very scary. But their faith seems to outweigh their fear. Of course, they come at points and become hesitant. What's going to happen to us? What's going to be our fate? What about our family? What about our wives and children? Mind you, this is not an army. These are civilian community that is a minority and helpless and oppressed for centuries. So they have little resources. They got what they could, ran through the desert towards the east, and that takes them to the Mediterranean Sea. So when they reached the Red Sea, Allah told Musa, hit the sea with your stick to open a roadway for your community. We'll get the details from Surah Ash-Shu'ara, but here, hit it and you will get them a dry road in the middle of the sea. To do this, if Moses didn't believe in Allah 150% or 1000%, he wouldn't risk killing all of his community by pretending I will hit the sea and things will work out. But we'll get to see what he said in Surah Ash-Shu'ara. And then Allah, to comfort him and to give him the power of his faith settled in his heart, he said, لا تخافوا دركا, you are not going to be caught. ولا تخشى, and do not worry. What an assurance. What an assurance. Allah's always telling us this all the time. Fear none but Allah. Worry about nothing that Allah has secured for you. But we're always worried, we're always afraid, we're always hesitant. The same thing that Allah says to Moses, He has still told us in the Quran thousands of times. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَاخْشَوْنِي الَّذِينَ يُبَلِّغُونَ رِسَالَاتِ اللَّهِ وَيَخْشَوْنَهُ وَلَا يَخْشَوْنَ أَحَدًا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Those who communicate the message of Allah and fear none but Him. These are the criteria that brings you the power to stand on your feet in the face of any challenge. So Allah inspired Moses to travel at night with his servants, as he puts it, and strike a dry path for them in the sea. Do not fear being caught and do not worry. Do we trust Allah that we do not worry when things go haywire? When you hear the news of the shutdown of the US government in Washington, and you are one of the employees of one of those agencies that rely on the government paycheck for their monthly expenses, do you tremble? Do you get shaken? Or do you say, Tawakkalna ala Allah? Or do you say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah? What do you say to yourself? Because this matters as to how you overcome such kind of difficulty. So Pharaoh followed them with his soldiers, and the sea covered them completely. We know later when Pharaoh was certain that he was drowning, when the sea covered him completely, he said what? Now he is afraid because he is going to meet the true Lord he has been denying for life. Now all the community fear was put into his heart, so much so that at that moment he says, آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل. Now I believe that there is no God but the God of the children of Israel. And I am one of the Muslims. Now he is claiming himself to be one of them, those that he enslaved for decades. Now he sees that maybe if I do this, I will be saved. It is wrong to wait until death overshadows and covers you, and you are in your utmost fear, and then you say, La ilaha illallah. That is not the time. And that is not going to help you. يوم يأتي بعض آيات ربك لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها لم تكن آمنت من قبل أو كسبت في إيمانها خيرا. The only soul that will benefit from whatever good it does, it has one of two things to do: to believe before dying, not when they see death overcoming them, not when they are overwhelmed by the tribulations of death. Or else, if the person is an actual believer, then you must have earned something good because of your faith, through your faith. But at the time of death, it is not the time to retract your position, and if you do, it's not going to help. That's what the Quran is saying. But Pharaoh, out of fear of his fate and for his person, and out of the fear of facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wants to say anything thinking that this would help him. So Allah answers him before he dies. As he was dying, he tells him, الآن وقد عصيت قبل. Now you're coming back to us. Now, after all of this corruption, all of this wrongdoing and injustices, all of this oppression, you claim to be God. What happened? Now, after the water covered your head? So the conclusion that comes here, ayah number 78 from Surah Taha, the conclusion is, وَأَضَلَّ فِرْعَوْنُ قَوْمَهُ وَمَا هَدَى. Fir'aun misled his people and took them astray, and he never guided them. He guided them towards hellfire. يَقْدُمُ قَوْمَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَأَوْرَدَهُمُ النَّارِ. He would be walking ahead of his people, leading them towards hellfire. So what is this scene? What is this scenery that you would see portrayed in the Quran? It is brought from the Day of Judgment. The part we have seen in this life is Pharaoh and his followers are on the top of the society. Money, power, children, positions, palaces, everything. In the hereafter, those who walked and worked for Pharaoh and walked on his footsteps, they will do the same on the Day of Judgment. He will be going to hell and they will be following him. يقدم قومه يوم القيامة فأوردهم النار. He would lead his people, his community, to hellfire on the day of judgment. Now I want to take you to a discussion that we have seen partly in Surah Taha, but of a different type here in Surah Ash-Shu'ara. When Pharaoh called the magicians for the challenge and confrontation with Moses and Aaron, they asked him a question. And Pharaoh proposed to the community the following. He is telling his people, لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعُ السَّحَرَةَ إِن كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. Let us see this confrontation. Maybe we will follow the magicians if they were the winners. The word if shows doubt. So he knows that Moses is likely to win. How did he know? Because Moses did it before. When he faced Pharaoh the first time, and Pharaoh told him, إن كنت جئت بآية فأت بها. If you are really coming from God and you have a sign, bring your sign forth. So what did Moses do? فألقى عصاه فإذا هي ثعبان مبين. He threw his stick and it turned into a clear, obvious snake. Stick, it was in his hand. He threw it, it became a snake. وَنَزَعَ يَدَهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ بَيْضَاءُ لِلنَّاظِرِينَ. His hand had something wrong. Most probably it's a skin disease. And it came clear. Nothing. He was known for having that disease. So 2 miracles he presented. Then Pharaoh accused him of being a magician. Pharaoh accused him. But he turned to his actual magicians and talked to the community saying, maybe we could follow the magicians if they win. Does he really mean it? No. Will Pharaoh follow the magicians? No. Pharaoh, when he says, let us follow the magicians, if they win, he is saying, because the magicians follow me, I am their Lord. Then if the community follows the magicians will deliver them to me. And this is the plan of every Pharaoh, of every age, of every community. They get people around them and throw them at the community so that the whole society will look up to them. They are wealthy, they are powerful, they can do stuff, bad and good, so they have power. So he is calling the community to worship him, but this time indirectly, by listening to the magicians. So when the magicians came, they told Pharaoh, are we going to be paid if we turned out to be the winners? People who work for pharaohs are only after money and power. Money and power, that's all what they want. In this case, the magicians were working honestly and fully for Pharaoh because they have not seen any other true power in their life until they met Moses. So his answer is, of course, you will be paid. And not only you will be paid, but you will be even closer to me. I will give you higher positions. I will give you more power. I will give you more authority. I will give you more money. What do they look for? That's it. So they have a deal. So Moses told them, throw whatever you're going to throw. So they throw their ropes and their sticks and they make a prayer. By the might, by the power of Pharaoh, we will be the winners. They called on a dead God. So what is the answer? Deafness. It went into thin air. You pray to anyone other than Allah, you get nothing in return. فَادْعُوهُمْ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Pray to your idols, whether your idols are human or not, and see if they will give you what you need. Especially when you are cornered, you are only in the hands of Allah. وَإِن يَمْسَسْكَ اللَّهُ بِضُرٍّ فَلَا كَاشِفَ لَهُ إِلَّا هُوَ. When Allah afflicts you with something harmful, there is no one to give you relief but Him. So whom should you pray to other than Him? Try out. It's not going to work. So they tried, and when Moses threw his stick, it picked up everything they had threw forth. So they immediately go back to Allah. They say, we believe in Allah. After they saw the signs of Allah, they saw the signs in two forms. Their magic is false, and Moses' miracle is the real thing. It couldn't be except from Allah. They also saw another sign. It's not that subtle. All of them, all at once, were thrown to the ground in prostration. That's another sign. They couldn't help it to stand after what they had seen. So they immediately submit. They said, we believe in the Lord of the worlds. Who is this? The Lord of Moses and Aaron. So Pharaoh now is upset, very intimidated and very afraid. This is the moment he has feared all his life. Moses is the baby that slipped through his sleeves, through his own palace. Moses is the baby Pharaoh could not kill. So he saw what's coming. So he immediately rebukes the magicians, saying, have you believed in him before I permit you? So he still have this hope and desire. Maybe it's running on inertia. And he says, have you believed in him before I permit you? Do you believe without permission? So not only you need a permit to travel, you need a permit to believe. You need a permit to pray. You need a permit to practice your faith. You need a permit to claim that you want your faith as your way of life. And without Pharaoh's permit, then it's your doomsday, Pharaoh claims. But it turns out to be the other way around. It was Pharaoh's doomsday. Why? Because the believers never believed the threats of Pharaoh. So he tells them, this is your master magician. This is the guy who taught you. So you will come to know. You will come to know who I am and what I am going to do. I will cut your legs and hands and arms from opposite side, and I will fasten you and crucify you in the trunks of the trees, and you will have it. You will have the maximum punishment. Look at the short answer. لا ضير. Oh, that's nothing harmful. Can you believe this? لا ضير. ضير from ضر يضر, ضرار and ضرر. There is no harm in crucifixion, cutting your hands and legs in opposite sides. There is no harm. What are they talking about? Are these guys crazy? Are they out of their mind? No. They are out of Pharaoh's net of fear. They have been liberated. People who do not fear death, life is given to them much better than those who do. I will repeat this again. People who do not fear death, this life is given to them better than those who fear death. You fear death, you live a hostage to the fear of everything else. In the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he says, من خاف الله وحده خوف الله من خاف الله وحده خوف الله منه كل شيء ومن خاف غير الله خوفه الله من كل شيء. We have to settle, we have to reconcile our life to our faith. Our faith is not beautiful statements that are made by a philosopher or thinker. Our faith are words from Allah that settles in our hearts and directs our choices, our thoughts, and our behaviors. That is our faith. So for the magicians, their faith is so deep-seated that they now do not see through their regular eyes. They are seeing now with the eyes of their heart, which you call basira, your insight, not with your eyesight. So they don't see Pharaoh as anything. He's a little boy. He is not the big God he is claiming. So for them, it's like seeing a puppet playing in front of them. And what is their protection? إِنَّا إِلَى رَبِّنَا مُنْقَلِبُونَ. We are turning back to Allah. This is their motive. This is their source of their power. When you kill us, we're going to Allah, the merciful, the compassionate, the one who has the keys to paradise and eternal life, the one who could save us if He wills. But we accept our fate for the sake of our faith. But when your body is gone, there is no faith, and there is not except one faith. You're going to be dead. So what are they really willing to achieve here? They are looking to people who believe, who are not as threatened as they are. They want the believers to stand strong, even though they were from the people of Pharaoh and the believers were from the community of Moses, the children of Israel. But they did not look with the racist eye. They looked with their faith eye. So they saw them as a trust. We don't want our children to live and aspire to become Pharaoh's magicians. We want to live with our dignity and die with our dignity. Dying with our dignity and our faith is better than living without them. We need to settle that score between us and Allah. Is dying with your dignity better in your eyes than living without dignity? If it is, we would have seen a different ummah completely. So what are they wishing for? إِنَّا نَطْمَعُ أَن يَغْفِرَ لَنَا رَبُّنَا خَطَايَانَا وَمَا أَكْرَهْتَنَا أَن كُنَّا أَوَّلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. In Surah Taha, وَمَا أَكْرَهْتَنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنَ السِّحْرِ. We are hoping that Allah would forgive us our sins. So they are not dying sad. They are dying very optimistic, very happy. If I die with my faith, at least Allah would forgive me. At least Allah had made a promise that I kept my side of that covenant between me and Allah. Therefore, facing death was not a very shocking experience for the magicians, because they did not go through it with their head, they went through it with their heart that was full of faith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our hearts with faith. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وبعد. So here, what makes them hope and trust that they will be forgiven? It is, they claim, according to them, أن كنا أول المؤمنين. أول المؤمنين, the first to believe, or the first of the believers. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين. And I am the first of Muslims. First in what? In the dinner line? First in what? These were the first in line to put their life on the line to protect the rest of the community, to protect their faith. They may not be able to protect them physically. Pharaoh could harm anybody, but to let them live and die as Muslims, that was the message. And that's why they outlived Pharaoh by the will of Allah, because the will of Allah is always going to be with the believers who are righteous and doing righteous deeds and are willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to protect their faith and to protect their progeny, their children, their next generation from melting out of their faith. A challenge that we Muslims face here every single day. We are all asking, what's going to become of our children? What's going to become of our children is what has been done by us. They will follow on your footsteps. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our children. Two remarks. One is an honorable brother of ours has reminded me that last time I said that Moses was after freeing the children of Israel, nothing else. If this is what I said, I was wrong. And I just wanted to correct it. Because in Surah Al-Nazi'at, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Moses, فَقُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. So the message of Prophet Musa alayhi salam to Pharaoh was twofold. أرسل معي بني إسرائيل ولا تعذبهم is one, send with me the children of Israel. And the second, for him to remember who the real God is. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا ومتعنا اللهم بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقوتنا ما أحييتنا واجعله الوارث منا واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا إلى النار مصيرنا وإذا أردت بقومنا فتنة فنجنا منها يا مولانا، غير خزايا ولا مفتونين ولا مبدلين ولا مغيرين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين، وانصر إخواننا المجاهدين في كل مكان. اللهم عليك بالطغاة والجبارين فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها، وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا ومن عذاب الآخرة. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم، فستذكرون ما أقول لكم، وأفوض أمري إلى الله، إن الله بصير بالعباد. وأقم الصلاة.